the sessions today are addressed to discuss some of these challenges and to see what are the best practices that can be emerging out of these discussions, and maybe whether we can create a compendium of some of these best practices, and how Schneider can act as a sort of a consulting partner to some of the major life sciences giants, if I may say, who are present in the hall today, and discuss some of these issues. So, what we will have is we have a special address by Dr. Sudarshan Jain. He's a Secretary General of Indian Pharmaceutical Association. Dr. Jain will talk a little bit about the issues and the challenges that overall the pharma industry is facing today. There is a slight change in sequence in the agenda. So after Dr. Jain's presentation, we will have a panel discussion on basically making change possible for sustainable pharma industry by having an energy efficient supply chain and clean operations. So that will be the discussion. So primarily on enhancing efficiency as well as having a more sustainable supply chain. And as all of you are aware, pharma is one sector where an efficient supply chain is extremely critical for its successful operations. After that, we have a presentation from Schneider on the next generation life sciences industry. Following that, we will have a panel discussion on leveraging the digital for better efficiency and operational excellence by life sciences companies, typically on the how digital automation is happening in the pharmaceutical company and how sustainability can emerge as a successful outcome of that digital transformation. And then at the end, we will have a digitization through IT, a small fireside chat, and then we have the award function where we will recognize and felicitate technology excellence in the life sciences sector. So without any further ado, I would now like to call on stage Dr. Sudarshan Jain, Secretary General, Indian Pharmaceutical Association, to deliver his special address. And may I request all of you to welcome him warmly here on stage.
Good evening to all of you. Thank you, Rajneesh, for the very kind words and setting the context of this meeting. Thank you for Schneider team and thank you for APAC for inviting me. It is indeed my pleasure to be here, and more important, it is great to be here with many of the friends who are here. I will not like to take much time, and I've been part of this journey for last 3 years, which have been truly exciting, which have been challenging, and which have been very unpredictable. And unpredictable times teach us a lot of lessons. I will truly call this time as a VUCA time, which is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Every day when you start the day, you don't know what will happen. There are very few tragedies in the world which had impacted 68 crore people around the world, which had taken toll of 68 lakhs people around the world. And we thought that it has stopped, but we never know how it spreads. And I was told there are restrictions even in this room, how many people can be invited. When you are in this kind of unpredictable world, the question is, how do you manage in this world? You start with COVID, then there's a Ukraine thing, and today we are seeing what happens to US-China relationship, you don't know, and what happens to the supply situation, we never know. There is a great article which I was reading, Rio Dalio, who has started a great private equity firm, and he writes about the first principles. And he says, US China relationship, where will it end? No one knows. Then there is a total economic slowdown around the world. The way dollar is evolving around the world, no one knows. Everyone is talking of multiple currency. The way gold prices have shot, everyone is raising the issue: what will happen to the currency in this world? Now, the question for all of us as management people who manage different how do you manage in this world, and what are the questions which you raise? Similar dilemma was there. I'm a academician primarily, also teach at IIM Ahmedabad. And the first question when you teach and the exams are approaching, the student asks, sir, ये एग्जाम का क्या पैटर्न होगा, कोई क्वेश्चन क्वेश्चन बता सकते हैं? Similar question was asked by Einstein. He used to teach at Cambridge, and he will say at the end of every exam, at the beginning of every exam, is the question paper will be the same as was last year. So the student used to wonder कि इसने तो बता दिया question paper, and then when you go to the exam hall, you find the same question paper, and then they used to say the question paper has been released before the exam. And then they asked the vice chancellor of the university, the question paper was released. He says, go back to Einstein. And Einstein said, the question is the same, but answers every year are different because the environment has changed. And that is true as far as today's world is concerned. The question is the same: how do we manage the environment? How do we manage the technology? How do we balance this technology sustainable balance? And how do we answer this question? I will raise the point with Joseph Salk, who has been the discoverer of vaccine. And he says, whenever there is an issue of this kind, and whenever we manage any situation, we should ask the question to ourselves, are we going to be good ancestors? The future generation, when we manage the organizations, like say we manage the organization, we manage the association, we manage any task, are we leaving any legacy? And are we creating something beyond us which makes difference to the future generations? So this question becomes much more relevant today. That are we good ancestors with the technological advancement which are taking place and the sustainable issues which are coming? I keep on wondering when I see many of the kids, I go to schools also, try to study psychology, they start using nebulizers at a young age of 8 or 10. So I start raising the question, have we found the right answers? I'm in the healthcare industry. What kind of environment we are trying to create? So there are technological questions, and then there are questions of sustainability. I will raise, because we have a very distinguished group. I can see all my friends here. They are much more experts in the field than I am. They do the jobs every day, and they make difference to many of the tasks because I've been part with them, associated with them. Some of the tasks which we were undertaking, we didn't know at that time where we were heading, but we worked together and found out the answers to many of the things. So one critical answer is, are we good ancestors? Second question is, are we good collaborators, right? Because if we don't collaborate in today's world, and if we think that we have got all the answers, that's the biggest mistake we can create, right? So two fundamental things: are we creating something for the future? Are we good ancestors? And are we good collaborators where we seek support from everywhere and we start looking at the world in a with multiple perspective to find that answer to be a good ancestor? There are technological advances which are taking place, and three questions whenever we talk of technology today is: what kind of technology, the adoption of the technology, and the diffusion of technology. Very, very important whenever we talk of technology. I'll just leave with some thoughts, because at the end of the day is we If we are able to raise right kind of questions, we will be able to find the right kind of answers. Two big technological change today, and they will change the world. And what speed they will change, I don't know. But they will change the world. One is generative AI, and Chat GPT is changing the world at the speed with which we don't know. What will be the role of research? What will be the role of drug discovery? What will be the role of clinical trials? What will be the time of discovery of the drugs? What will be the role of these APEC as a channel? What will be the role of journalists? What will be the role of different functions in the organization? Generative AI and AI itself will have a fundamental change the way the organization work. It is like, say, no one knew first working from home, but it has happened and it has brought about big change. And COVID itself brought the advancement to these changes. So one is generative AI. Second is the CRISPR technology, gene, cell and gene therapy, gene editing, whether human being can be cloned today, whether we can create the kind of human beings which we want. And the work which is being done at Berkeley, and Dodona is doing it, and the Chinese are doing it in this world, we don't know where we will end up. Third is related to this, all the sciences are merging together. And SpaceX and Elon Musk come in this game, and he has started a company, Neuralink, where he says he can make blind men walk, and he will find the answer to muscular dystrophy, where Novartis is talking for that particular product $3.8 million, that kind of treatment. So the way I keep on imagining is there will be a fundamental change. I didn't know what generative AI will do 1 year back when we used to sit, many of us are here, all of a sudden ChatGPT comes in. And I have some of the IT people, they work with me. Some of you know they work 20 hours a day to get things going in. So they say, Sab, there is no problem. We can predict the demand city by city of a particular product, and the dispatches can take place accordingly. So whole role of supply chain will bring a transformation in the whole thing. There are a lot of people who are working, and we have got a lot of expert, digital experts sitting there. They will talk about it. So the role of technology and the role of CRISPR, so biological science and technology science, digital, will come together and make fundamental change. Point number one. Point number two is the adoption of the technology will be at much faster pace. And the very fact ChatGPT and Bard are trying to do, and the way they have adopted in a short period of time, is phenomenal. What took internet to adopt, what took mobile to adopt, what took ChatGPT to adopt. Everywhere today, if I want to give lecture today, although my friend who works with me, he said, "Sahab, don't worry, I will give you the talking point." Forget about the talking point, let me talk myself about it. But 5 मिनट में आपको बता के दे देता हूँ आपको क्या तकलीफ है. मैंने कहा ठीक है, कोई तकलीफ नहीं है. So the diffusion of technology, everyone has started, my secretary, everyone has started. So diffusion of technology is much faster pace than what we have predicted. Adoption of technology. And even during COVID times, the way companies have started adopting the technology has been phenomenal. Third is diffusion, adoption and diffusion going down the line. And great example is telemedicine. Like oximeter at every home during COVID times. And I, Sachin is here, I wonder if telemedicine was not there, how a GP could have treated so many COVID patients, small clinics, and everyone rushing to a GP. Whereas here, you record oximeter, oxygen levels, you record temperature, you talk to your doctor, and I talk to Dr. Joshi, and he gives me the prescriptions. Sudarshan, don't worry, COVID ho gaya hai. Ghar pe baith ke you get on to with your conferences, right? You give me just your oximeter details. So the oximeter, the technology, the whole thing has undergone a fundamental change, diffusion of technology. So this is technology will take place. But the question is responsible use of technology. And that's why responsible AI, responsible cell and gene therapy, and that's why Elon Musk gave the call that we should pause what can be done. I was with E&Y conference, independent directors conference, just before I came here. And first question we are raising is regulation is behind technology today. Technology advances much more and regulation follows it. And how do independent directors understand that? Like say Theranorm, something happens and then we get into public announcement and all those kind of things. And everyone in the world knows that Theranorm did this public recall as an independent director. Independent directors were informed later, but the public knew much earlier. So that's the role, and responsible AI becomes very, very important. Responsible cell and gene therapy becomes very, very important. And that debate becomes very, very important. At what pace regulators have to come in, what pace civil society will come in, what pace thought leaders will come in, and whether everything will stop or not. Because Microsoft will not say that stop and pause. Google will never say stop and pause. But Elon Musk is saying stop and pause for technological AI. So that's a very, very important question for future generation. What speed, what area to pick the pace? Climate issue, sustainability is very, very important. Whatever we do, we have to ensure that this planet survives and we take care of the kids. So green technology, what Shinder is talking about, becomes very, very important. Uh, I'm sure there will be a lot of discussion in all these areas, but I would like to conclude by saying no one can stop the development of technology. That's the beauty of the word. No one can stop the development of the ideas. The question is there has to be enough balances which takes care that we are moving in the right direction, point number one. And also the concern is raised regarding the impact on the society so we can truly call ourselves as good ancestors. We are in a very good industry, healthcare industry. We make a difference every day to this industry. The world relies on us because we are true custodian of health around the world. And I'm sure India will continue to play a very important role. This is going to be the decade of India. And we believe in the concept of Vasudev Kutumbakam. All the very best, great discussion, and thank you once again to APAC team. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jain, for those wonderful words and sort of encouraging even the discussion that would be happening tonight, setting the context, if I may say, on which the technology is looked at, the prism from which it is looked at, and how that will lead to a more sustainable kind of world.